Yeah, I hope they'll just say, mom tried,
Mm.
and maybe pick up. The 16-year-old, I'm not cool at all, but the 31-year-old, I get messages saying I'm proud of you, I love you, you got this, and that means the world to me, and it lets me know that she is paying attention, even if she's not at the rallies with me, if she's not at these places with me, she is watching, and I believe the 16-year-old is too, whether he'll admit it or not.
And greetings, everybody, and welcome to Buzz for Good, where we talk all things nonprofit, the people they serve, and the good they do. And on today's show, we often focus on the nonprofit as an organization, a company, and the work that it does as a company for the community it serves. But on today's Buzz for Good, I want to focus as much on the life story and worldview of one particular person who works for a nonprofit, my good friend, Crystal Mello, a community organizer for Protect Our Water, Heritage, and Rights, aka POWHR, which has been one of the most influential opponents of the Mountain Valley Pipeline. In my conversation with Crystal, we certainly talk about the work of POWHR to fight the pipeline, but I am just as interested and inspired by Crystal's personal path. Single mom at 16 years old, her child's father incarcerated for drugs, survivor of a sexual assault, house cleaner by trade, and now one of our region's most passionate community organizers. So please, stick around for my conversation with Crystal Mello. As for me, I am Michael Hemphill, creator and host of this radio show, as well as the TV show Buzz that airs on Blue Ridge PBS and on YouTube. Each episode, we feature a nonprofit organization and the great work that it does, and we provide the nonprofit with pro bono marketing assets from members of the American Advertising Federation of Roanoke. You can stay connected with Buzz on our website, buzzforgood.com. That's Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, 4, good.com, as well as our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all at Buzz for Good. We are currently finishing up work on our 32nd episode of our TV show Buzz, this one starring the arts and economic development in Roanoke, Virginia. It is part 5 of our 6-episode series that we are producing in partnership with the Roanoke Cultural Endowment and the City of Roanoke. The episode airs June 21st on Blue Ridge PBS, and we will be having a free watch party open to the community that evening at 5 Points Music Sanctuary in Roanoke. And you can find out more information about that event on our website, buzzforgood.com, under Events. The episode features the vital role that the arts play in making a community attractive for business. And one of the marketing assets that we helped create for Roanoke's Economic Development Office in the show is a music video that we produced to an original song written and performed by Roanoke's very own Brian Harvest Black Hancock and J.P. Powell, with special guests David Stewart Wiley from the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra, Brooke Tolley of Opera Roanoke, Shalene Powell of the Roanoke Cultural Endowment, and the Roanoke Valley Children's Choir. Here is a short clip from our episode where J.P. Powell and Brian Hancock discuss the friendship that blossomed between them in the creation of the song.
Hello, my name is Brian Harvest Black Hancock. Black is spelled B-L-A-Q-U-E. I'm a hip-hop performer, spoken word artist, host, and I do a few things.
Hi, I'm J.P. Powell. I'm a restaurateur and musician who resides here in Roanoke, Virginia.
It was great working with JP. You guys, put us together. And, I didn't know who he was until we had that first initial meeting. But it was kind of like those two kids in the lunchroom the first day of like junior high or something. It's like, hey, you got the peanut butter sandwich and I got the jelly. Let's put those things together and let's make a sandwich, or we can trade lunches or something like that. So after it was over, we did have a very genuine kinship, and I like to call him friend. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think one of the cool things about this, for me personally, is again being able to work with someone who I wouldn't have been able to work with before. So the song, in a way, is trying to highlight the diversity in the Roanoke art scene, and how important it is to Roanoke being a cooler, better city. But by the physical process of having to make this song, it brought two people together who have enjoyed working with each other. So it had a very real-world kind of positive consequences, I would say, if that makes sense. So I got, I think, more from this song than I gave to it, if that makes sense.
JP, you're cool, quiet as a mouse sometimes, but you run things and you do it real well. I know that didn't rhyme. I just want to say that you're swell. Everything that you spit and say was being yourself. And that's what you're teaching me to do, to get out of my comfort zone and make moves with you. And that's all I got.
Once again, that was JP Powell and Brian Harvest Black Hancock, co-writers for a new song that we have made into a pretty awesome music video that will premiere on June 21st on Buzz on Blue Ridge PBS and at our watch party at 5 Points Music Sanctuary. It is my pleasure now to present for the first time this original song by Brian Hancock and JP Powell titled It's Here.
Yeah. Vibes to this. Yeah. VA stand up. Roanoke City stand up. Hey. Hey. Let me talk to you like this real quick. Light it all up like a Roman candle. Parts of paintbrush and the canvas. Make it all happen from where you're standing. Ain't no second string, nope, no stand-ins. Every hand up, cause we got the answer. Shout it to the sky like a walking pamphlet. Whole city tapping in for the cause, enthralled, showing out, defying all laws of gravity. All in the name of humanity. Already one go, roll with your family. Seeing dreams lucid in 3D. Be who you wanna be. Faith of a mustard seed, germinate, culminating purpose. I shall proceed, be a walking testimony. Our stories unfold so bold for the glory. Yeah, it's all here. Telling our stories, take the lead. Etch a stone, look for me.
Here, right here. It's here, right here. It's here, right here. It's here, right here.
Yeah, hold this torch, just protect this candle. I seen squads, camps, and cliques all dismantle. Let our light shine as we take it by force. We got a right mind, so we aim our voice. Killed on set, cause it's all just cause and effect. Rub this rash, watch it more than infect. Keep your accolades, riches, awards in here. We go to war with a pen, mighty sword in here. Bust like a cannon, flow move just like a phantom. The flow so fast, the conversation just so random. Like, who's that on that mic? A true bona fide MC, he doing what he like. Heard he's so live, could he ever style bite? Is he live for real or just another sound bite? Nah, never, so smooth, stronger than ever. We do it right now, yes, now or never, come on. It's right here, right? We do it right now, yes, now or never, come on. It's right here, right? All great things start right here. Right here. This is the place to be. Home sweet home.
That was It's Here, and join us on June 21st one more time to see the music video that we have created around it, along with the entire Buzz episode featuring the arts and economic development. Again, June 21st at Five Points Music Sanctuary or on Blue Ridge PBS, and more at buzzforgood.com. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors of this show, Freedom First, where people bank for good, freedomfirst.com, the Roanoke Cultural Endowment, which is working to provide a long-term funding solution for arts and cultural organizations in Roanoke, Virginia. That's roanokeculturalendowment.org. And Partners in Financial Planning, a Southwest Virginia-based financial management firm, partnersinfinancialplanning.com. And now, my conversation with Crystal Mello, organizer for Protect Our Water, Heritage, and Rights, aka POWHR. POWHR was created in large part to fight the controversial Mountain Valley Pipeline that starts in West Virginia and runs through Southwest Virginia. The Mountain Valley Pipeline, commonly called the MVP, has been repeatedly cited for environmental violations for polluting streams, mountains, and communities along its 303-mile path. Community groups like POWHR have posed legal challenges since construction first began in 2018, and the project really seemed stymied until this week when Congress, led by West Virginia's U.S. Senator Joe Manchin, included an expedited permitting process for MVP in the federal debt ceiling legislation. That legislation should ease the way for the pipeline's completion. It is a wide-ranging conversation that I have with Crystal about her own surprising journey to community activist and organizer, and an exploration of her worldview in which the forces responsible for projects like MVP are the same as those that oversee our courts and prison systems, climate change, the banking system, drug addiction, and on and on. For instance, a question about a proposed solar farm in Montgomery County takes Crystal to the Gulf of Mexico and the toxic air surrounding oil refineries off the coasts of Texas and Louisiana. Or talk about our unjust jail system leads her to her hopes of offering a free week of summer camp for low-income kids. Case in point, just as our Zoom conversation is starting, where we're going to talk about Crystal's work fighting MVP, she sees a deputy pull up to her house.
Yeah, so the cops are at my house. Get back, Finch. Get back. Might be good to have you on the phone. I hope they ain't hear from me. I hope they're lost.
What's that now?
The cops are here.
Oh.
Yeah.
At your house?
Yeah, I'm hoping they're lost. Hello?
Couldn't see a number on the house. Is this 992?
It is.
Crystal Mello?
Yep.
Got a paper here.
Okay.
It's an order or notice of bond forfeiture.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you already know about it. Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I didn't know about it, but I'm just wondering who it's for.
Well, there's a court date in the top right corner. Each respondent should get a $2,000.
Oh, for Raymond? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. One of the people, we have a bail fund also. Yeah. Looks like he didn't go to court, which is really sad. He's houseless, lives at the rescue mission, dealing with addiction. Really nice guy. So yeah, I hate he didn't show up for court. That sucks.
And so you helped arrange for his bond?
Yeah, I paid his bond. And, that's the thing. And a lot of times, they'll probably pick him up and we'll probably still get that money back. But, just a bright guy, young guy, not only when we get people out, we also try to, give them support, to talk, if they need rides to court, if they need court support, things like that. And It just makes me sad because we're not meeting the needs of people with addiction issues. You see the best in the people and you see the worst, and usually the worst is brought about by some addiction that is, plaguing our country hardcore. So, and we're approving crooked companies through an act of Congress, but we can't figure out how to take care of, our people who we know how to work with drug addiction. We just don't have resources for it. So
when I started out by asking, how are you doing this week?
Yeah. And we've came to agreement that none of us are asking each other how any of us are doing. Like, we're not opening up with, how are you doing? Because we all know everybody is just doing crazy right now. And that's just the truth of it, because this, for the MVP to be attached to the debt ceiling is absurd. It's everything that's what's wrong with this country right now. It's profit over people all the time, nonstop, just like now with that summons. It's just, we just don't get it. We're not getting it. We're not figuring it out. That money's not the answer. Big corporations aren't the answer.
Well, for those who aren't aware, perhaps, of when you talk about MVP and the debt ceiling, give a little introduction for what all you're talking about there.
Manchin has been pushing the Mountain Valley Pipeline. And
this is West Virginia's U.S. Senator, Joe Manchin.
Yep. The Mountain Valley Pipeline is a 303-mile, 42-inch, high-pressurized frac gas project that's cutting through, it's 400 and some streams, I think, and waterways are left, over 200 in Virginia. They've lost their water permits numerous times. They've, and that's what stinks about this, it being tied to the debt ceiling, because they are stripping away any kind of judicial rule, anything, there's cases pending in courts. They haven't gotten their 401 water permit, which is, they needed one for Virginia and they need one for West Virginia. It was granted for Virginia recently. West Virginia, it was not granted. And they need to have both of those 401 permits in order to receive their 404, which is issued by the Army Corps of Engineers. And then it'll go to FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And then they would, I guess, give the stamp of approval. But all these things are pending. And with this being attached, this part of the budget, it being attached to that, it's wiping away all those regulations, all those steps that they're supposed to go through. It's like basically saying within 21 days of this bill passing, they can start work. Like, forget what the courts say, forget, that's how we're understanding it. Like, none of those judicial rulings, any of those agencies will no longer have say, and the Mountain Valley Pipeline can just go back to work like they did in 2018, 2019, when they were working actively, and they occurred like over 300 violations, which were not pointed out by the company, but by people on the ground taking pictures and submitting them. I think we're fined over $2 million in the state of Virginia. And I think it's been so long since they worked that people forget how horrible of a company this is and what crappy work they do. We hold cashiers at McDonald's and Burger King more accountable over barbecue sauce and napkins than we're holding this company that is placing a 42-inch. It's a little bit bigger than a hula hoop. This thing's huge. Like, you can sit in it. You don't realize how big it is until you stand next to it. And it's just sad. We're all supposed to play by the rule. If I wanted to, or if you wanted to add a deck to your house or anything, you would have to get the permits you needed. You have to follow the rules when you want to add things onto your property. But now it seems like this company can just come in and just do whatever they want. And this isn't for a public gain at all. This isn't benefiting our communities at all. It's always the people at the bottom that are always getting hurt by these decisions, by the people with all the power.
Well, let me
Time
take
and
a
time
quick
again.
moment to reintroduce you here to the show. I'm joined here on Buzz for Good by Crystal Mello with the nonprofit organization called POWHR, which is Protect Our Water, Heritage, and Rights. POWHR, POWHR. I mean, so there's the deal that Congress is trying to hammer out that was kind of spearheaded here by West Virginia U.S. Senator Joe Manchin to include some expedited permitting for Mountain Valley Pipeline to get completed in order for the debt ceiling to be raised. So that's kind of currently working its way through Congress, and you've got some things happening. So as of today, right now, it is Thursday, June 1st, and we are speaking this morning. You've got something happening this afternoon. What else? Tell us about that.
So today we're going to gather at Warner's office and ask him to stand with Kane on this amendment that I think he's going to bring to the Senate today.
All right, and you're talking about U.S. Senator Mark Warner for Virginia, and his office where?
120 Luck Ave in Southwest Roanoke.
Okay, so in Roanoke, yeah.
And there's going to be solidarity rallies in Vienna, Richmond, and Norfolk, I believe.
Okay.
So, and Sam Russell is going to come and he's going to speak at one, who's an ally, you know, and a voice for us here.
Yeah, and Sam Russell is the Roanoke's delegate in the General Assembly. A lot of work happening on your part. You're, you know, organizing rallies, not only in Roanoke, but throughout the state. You're getting well versed in all of the regulatory issues that are involved with, you know, a permitting process like Mountain Valley Pipeline. You're talking about 401 permits and 403 and FERC and all sorts of agencies. I mean, this is kind of a crash course in community organizing. And I want to rewind in time a little bit, if you don't mind. Once again, talking with Crystal Mello with the Protect Our Water, Heritage, and Rights organization. You're a single mom. Your daughter's father went to prison for drugs.
Yep.
You know,
marijuana.
Yep.
10 years for.
Wow. Yeah. You yourself are a sexual assault survivor.
Yes.
And, you know, for much of your, I guess, adult life, or since I've known you, you know, your primary occupation, you know, to make money has been to clean houses. And, and, you know, now though, I mean, you're probably one of the most leading advocates and most vocal advocates, and I would say influential activists in our region when it comes to issues surrounding, you know, Appalachia. And so how did all of your background lead to where you are today? I mean, a lot of people,
just living,
you know,
all
a lot of
this.
people, not only in, you know, kind of your situation, but in a variety of, you know, situations in life, you know, whether, you know, they don't invest themselves back into their communities. They just kind of get their paychecks and they go home and they hunker in and don't really engage with the outside world. But you, I mean, it's really been astonishing and inspiring to see you in action.
Well, I appreciate that coming from you, because I always admire you also and how you maneuver through the world, as how you've learned to use your time also, you know. So I think I look up to you too. So I want to say, I need to say that, you know, you're one of the inspiration people in my life. And I think just like nothing's getting better. You know, my grandmother raised me. I lived in Virginia on and off because my own parents dealt with drug issues. My father passed away when I was 16. He died due to complications of AIDS because he was a heroin user. And here we are, you know, I'm 48 now. My friends are raising their grandkids. We have a heroin, opioid, fentanyl issue. Like nothing's getting better. Like we're not nothing is improving, I guess. Like, I guess if I thought that there was something good that was happening, maybe I would just, come home after work and just, throw the ball with the dog and hang out with the kids and stuff. But and I still do that. But I definitely fill the space up with how can I make this better for my kids and my grandkids, because we just got to keep plugging away. I won't be here forever. And I don't want them to have to keep doing the same struggle over and over and over, generational, over and over and over. And just finding ways to navigate through that. And I think with this Mountain Valley Pipeline fight, we've built such a coalition of so many people who are also not only trying to stop this pipeline, but trying to find better ways to be better communities, supportive communities, healing communities, because I feel like it's kind of like our last option. Like, maybe we should try that, invest more in that instead of, depending on government agencies to do this work for us. It's not trickling down. I think in our community here in Eastmont, there are so many grandparents raising kids. And I correspond with a lot of women in jail at the Western Regional Jail and Roanoke City Jail. And some of the men too. Men are a little bit more reluctant to reach out for help, but so the majority of it is speaking with women. But I guarantee I can put money on that over 75% of these people that are locked up are addicts. They're in there for petty crimes, violation, peeing dirty, whatever that looks like. They're not in there for, like in my case, rape. There's people pulling a lot of time for petty crimes, and that's just more trauma that for them to get out and reoffend, because they haven't had the kind of healing that is needed to come out here and deal with this world that's already hard if you're not using drugs. And if you live in a stable environment and you have good paying jobs, even those people are having rough times now, Yeah. So just to add in, coming from a single parent home where, a parent is working most of the day, we're just not supporting each other. And I think that's what I want to learn, is just how do we support each other better?
Well said. Well said. Once again, here joined on Buzz for Good by Crystal Mello with the Protect Our Water, Heritage, and Rights, which is one of the leading opponents right now of the Mountain Valley Pipeline and all the issues surrounding with that. And she has been working a lot, I guess, in overtime this week, while Congress is working its way through trying to raise the debt ceiling. And as part of that, the U.S. Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia has included in that legislation some expedited permitting for the Mountain Valley Pipeline. So she's been working hard with that. Was the pipeline, was that your first entry into this world of community organizing? And
yeah, definitely. Well, like, I think like Roanoke City Jail is a really horrible place and was like, one of the top worst jails in the nation. So I think we started, like, I started with that with some other folks doing the starting to do some jail solidarity work and whatnot. But the pipeline has been like the most organized.
how did you get part of that
With the
pipeline
jail work? Oh, the pipeline. Just riding down 460 and seeing a cut coming near Apgar. And we did a prisoner speak out at the Hope Center in Roanoke. And there was another person there that I had seen at a Poor People's Campaign, and got to talking to them and found out they lived in Blacksburg, and was, talking about that. And I guess the conversation came up about the pipeline, and was like, oh, that's what that cut is. And then, they offered to take me around, because that's what they did. Drove around and took pictures and documented all the time. So I got in the car with them and we rode around all of Eastmont, Montgomery County. And then I just that one ride, I was like, oh my gosh, we can't do this. This isn't good. And I didn't even realize that people had been fighting this, kind of like the intermodal that you know of, that was coming in years before. There was a huge swell of support against that. And so like I don't yeah, I'm like, I don't know how I missed the pipeline. I thought I was better informed, but then I'm like, they don't advertise it like that or make it like, hey, we're having these board meetings accessible to everybody.
Yeah, there's no big ribbon cutting scheduled for, hey, this great new pipeline is coming through your
Yeah.
community. We're going to
Yeah.
cut down a bunch of trees and we're going to dig a big ditch, and we're going to put this pipeline that's going to carry high pressurized natural gas through.
Yeah.
Come see it.
Yeah, there was none of that. And so I think that's what got me, once I started riding along with them on the route and just seeing like these steep slopes and the size of this pipe laying out, I just kind of got hooked in. And then, and then the tree sits went up in Elliston. And then it was just about, oh, wow, meeting new people that would come to visit the tree sits and things that they were doing, like going to Richmond and, these letter writing campaigns. We've done everything that we're supposed to do. It always kills me when we're standing out on a corner, and we'll probably hear it today, and somebody will drive by and yell, "Get a job." And it's like,
I have a job. I have several jobs.
Yes, like,
yeah, this is my free time.
Yeah. So, we've done, or they'll say, you need to talk to your board of supervisors, or you need to write your senator. And it's like, oh, never thought of that. Let's come on, guys, let's all go home and push out some postcards to our local senator. And yeah, like we've done all that. We've done all that work and are winning, and the courts are seeing it now. And it's a real blow for Joe Biden to, because we're hearing Joe Biden had a lot to do with this too. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to hear, that Joe Biden is turning his back on us, but it's true. He signed off on this. Mm-hmm. And we're planning a rally for June 8th that will be in front of the White House in DC from 2 to 4, asking Joe Biden to cancel the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like we're loading a bus up here in Christiansburg. Reach out to POWHR.org, POWHR, and sign up for a seat. We're almost full. The Sierra Club is going to provide 2 meals for us. It's going to be great. So far, the people on the bus are just stellar people who have been in this fight forever. I feel honored and blessed to be a part with them. I've learned so much from them. Red Terry is going to be on the bus, I'm hearing, and who is somebody who also took up space on her own property, her and her daughter, and stayed in a tree for I think over 30 days, blocking the pipeline there. And they weren't even allowed to cut trees during that time. And as soon as they came down from the tree, they started cutting. That's a violation. Mm-hmm. So they just blatantly break the rules in front of our faces. It's maddening.
And so that you're organizing a march on June 8th in front of the White House in DC, and to sign up for a seat on the bus that will leave Christiansburg that morning to get there. Go to POWHR.org. That's POWHR.org. And that POWHR, once again, stands for Protect Our Water, Heritage, and Rights. And joined here on Buzz for Good by POWHR's one of their main organizers, Crystal Mello. When you think about environmental causes or, Appalachia, the region, these have, I think, traditionally been kind of aligned with the Democratic Party. But, at hearing you talk, it's, you've been, kind of taking aim at Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who's a Democrat, and Joe Biden, obviously a Democrat, and other Democratic forces that have been kind of either supporting or just conveniently overlooking the impact that the Mountain Valley Pipeline is going to have. I also know in past conversations with you that, you've been a little skeptical of, folks like Donald Trump How
Yeah.
how has all this shaped your politics?
Oh, that's tough. It has made me uh, not feeling good about that right now, to be honest. The Democrats run on protecting Black, Brown, Indigenous, under-resourced communities, and that's what they say, and their actions are not doing that, and that's a hard pill to swallow. I feel like people have said that for years, and you're like, oh no, but it's not as bad as you know Trump or something like that, and at least with Trump, we knew what we were getting, and this kind of backstab by the Democrats, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts. President Biden was signing an environmental justice executive order the same day. Granholm was sending a letter. The Secretary of Energy was sending a letter to FERC saying their office cannot endorse this project, but they would like for it to go ahead and be completed, basically. And that's the type of backstabbing that I'm talking about. You're signing an executive order for environmental justice communities, and then your Secretary of Energy is writing a letter endorsing a project that is going to hurt environmental justice communities. That's the backstabbing that we're fighting right now.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
Yeah. Kind of makes you think that the whole system is corrupt.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether there's a
yes.
D or an R after your name.
Absolutely. And I'm starting to believe it was built this way. I'm starting to believe that. So yeah. If and when there's a time to talk about, like, with the sexual assault and my views on prison systems, like, that, for me to say I'm an abolitionist, but I have somebody in jail, I have to discuss that, because I know that the person who got, we talk about sending people to jail so they can, pay for their crime and be rehabilitated and so forth. And that is a rapist. There's not a lot of rapists in jails. Most, the jails aren't made up of rapists and killers, first of all. And even the ones that are in there for those crimes, the rehabilitation is not happening. I haven't been a part of any of that rehabilitation, which I think needs to happen, for healing for the person who did this to me and for myself, and none of that is happening. So the prison system, it's not working like they say it's working. And that's another system that's making a lot of money off the backs of people who are already in crappy situations, not like I'm giving this guy a free ride or whatever, but he was also dropped through the system, and as a young human,
And
like, there were
talking about
events that led up to
you're
this.
talking about the man who raped you?
Yeah. He fell through the system also, in court, hearing things that had happened in his past, trouble he had been in along the way. Like, nobody reached out and saved him either. So, I think about that. Trying to get a van full of kids from our area that are not being supported, are dealing with traumas of their parents being in and out of jail, dealing with drug addiction, having a grandparent raise them, or an elder who is more tired than a parent, or maybe not having the resources just to get them to go into a camp in the summer. Like, how do we nurture these kids that are already hurting to let them know they don't have to hurt people when they get older? It's just it's a cycle, it's a circle, and we need to figure out how we're putting our bodies in the line for that too, not just in front of equipment, but how are we putting our bodies on the line for future generations of healing. And we haven't figured that out yet, but we've got to start there. We've got to we got to start caring about the future.
A lot going on there. And in addition to the pipeline and your work with the Roanoke City Jail, you've also kind of embraced in other projects, such as like there was a somewhat of a controversial solar farm project in the Elliston area that you got involved with. You know, how does that relate to POWHR's work?
I think we do want good renewables. We know, you know, we need a future without fossil fuels. We've got to get away from that, kind of like house phones. You know, it's like inevitable. It's not sustainable. Or driving without a seatbelt or smoking. Like, you know, when you know better, you do better. You know, like we've adapted over time to many things. And fossil fuels is also one of those things. And steering off just a little bit from that, and I will answer that about the local solar farm. But I got to go to the Gulf at the end of September, and in 2015, apparently Obama lifted a ban on export of this fracked natural gas. So when I was down there in September, they are like building
the Gulf
so
of
many, like down there in Texas, Louisiana. They are building so many export facilities right now for this gas. So when, you know, Joe Manchin's claiming this is for national energy security, those are lies. Like they're planning on banking off of this by shipping this stuff overseas. You know, we have what we need. We have enough pipelines already. Like this is manufactured crisis that they're making us all believe. So I just, you know, the people in the Gulf are suffering now. We were down there. I was having to use an inhaler at 6:30 in the morning. Had a headache by 9 a.m. because of just the air, the pictures. Like you can just see this like smog in the horizon that people are living this. Like people are still have tarps on their house down there from Katrina. There was a lady I met at the hotel whose house was just now being rebuilt from Katrina.
Wow.
You know, so these communities aren't benefiting from the money that is being made from these, I don't know, we call them petro colonizers at this point, but from these corporations. You know, like this money isn't trickling down into these communities that need it the most. They're not looking out for their neighbors. They're just it's one of the most violent gentrification that I've seen. We talk about Gainsborough or historic Gainsborough, the redlining, all that went down there. Like they're not even buying these houses out. They're just waiting for people to die. Like the industry is like right up to their fence line because they know their families, their children don't want this house, you know, to pass down this house because they don't want to live there. These people don't want to move because they're elder. This is where they've been their whole life. So these companies are just waiting for these people to die so they can just buy up their land, you know, that lot, so they can expand even further. It's so disgusting. It's very gross.
And so you were talking about that in relation to the solar farm project, and you're supportive of renewables.
Yeah. And you know, with that coming in, it kind of was like MVP. Like there was a little sign on the road. There wasn't much advertisement for it. So when we went to the planning commission for it and we got it tabled, and it didn't seem like it was done with a good heart, you know, and I think we want to push.
I know some of the opponents have said it felt more like, you know, not so much about trying to create a new renewable energy source, but more as a cash grab by a company trying to find the cheapest lot available in order to install solar panels.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, I can't stand behind that either. Yeah. I would love to see something like that in our area. I would love, you know, some of the people, you know, were referring to us as guinea pigs down here. And I feel that a lot. And I want us to feel empowered, like we're not guinea pigs, but we're setting the bar for other small rural communities where farmers are having a hard time. You know, there's only 1.5, maybe 2 hay cuttings now in front of my house, where 20 years ago there was 3.5. Like, we know the climate is changing. We know we're having more heavy rains that aren't beneficial to our grounds. We're having longer periods of 90-degree days. Like, you don't have to be a scientist to know that. We all know things are changing with the climate. And even the solar, to understand that stuff, those bills, I can't understand that stuff. And I'm surrounded by people who do that for their job. That's what they do. It's all so confusing for just everyday average people, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be more informative. It should be more easy for us to understand, and it should be beneficial. I would love to have some kind of solar farm here where the horticulture class from the middle school and the high school, they get to have a say in that. Let's try to do some crops under that. The visions are beautiful. Like, we can do great things. We should be doing that. We should be more invested in that.
One more time, joined here on Buzz for Good by Crystal Mello with Protect Our Water Heritage and Rights, aka POWHR. And for more information about POWHR, you can go to POWHR.org. And now POWHR is affiliated with Virginia Organizing, which is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. So that's how you are able to receive charitable funding, or is through Virginia Organizing.
Yes.
In order for to support your work. What are some of the other? Tell us more about POWHR, and as far as its when it was founded, its history, and what are some of the other projects that it's working on right now?
It's an interstate coalition representing individuals and groups from Virginia and West Virginia dedicated to protecting water, land, and communities from harms caused by the expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure, including the Mountain Valley Pipeline. POWHR members and organizations are part of a growing grassroots movement to stop fossil fuel expansion in Appalachia, including the MVP, and to kickstart the transition to a just and renewable future. We integrate the broader context of this pipeline fight into our work as a part of a unified fight to stop all new fossil fuel projects in the United States, combat environmental injustice, and a meaningful address to the climate crisis. Of course, I read that off because I can't. Yeah, it is a lot. The coalition is like groups like Preserve Giles, Preserve Montgomery County, Preserve Craig, Preserve Floyd, Salem, Roanoke, Franklin County. The West Virginia is like Fayette, Greenbrier, Summers, Monroe, Lewis County. POWHR was formerly formed as a coalition in 2015 by groups organizing in the directly impacted counties since the project was announced in 2014. So POWHR was specifically founded to fight Mountain Valley Pipeline. And I think that's the conversations that we're having is, once we're done with this pipeline and we kill it and beat it officially, because it cannot be built safely in these mountains, is what POWHR will look like in the future. And sign up for our newsletter. Grace does an amazing job with that. And find ways to get in, because the opportunities are endless. And I believe what we can do when we have a bigger coalition. Yeah, like that's like this whole stupid pipeline thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's taken away from so many other good things that we all could be doing. Instead of sitting on Zoom calls or listening to House committee calls all day and just stupid stuff. Like, I'm always scrubbing a potty, and I tell them that too. Y'all know I'm cleaning toilets right now while I'm listening to you, right? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, we could be all doing something so much better than fighting a failed project. Ugh. We think about going forward after this pipeline is fought and defeated. What does POWHR look like? So I think we're having that internal conversation a whole lot. And so the people who like get a paycheck from with this would be Russell Chisholm, Grace Tuttle, who does an amazing job with all our legislation stuff. Like she's, out hooking up the lobby meetings, um, goes through all that information, breaks it down for us. Denali is our communications director, another beautiful soul living in DC, about to move here, who does great outreach work. And me, my little gig will be up soon. I was lucky to get a fellowship through the Equation campaign, where they're trying to help people who work on the ground, someone like me who is doing this work anyway, but being able to like pay me part-time for the work that I'm doing already. And if I wasn't getting paid, I would be doing this anyway. And that's what, once this fellowship is up in June, I think we're trying to figure out about maybe extending this with me, but I would do it anyway. Like whether there's a paycheck, like this would be something that I would do anyway. But that's what POWHR is a lot of volunteer folks, landowners, and stuff like that. So our future, for me personally, it would be doing more. Like I love the community work, dealing with environmental injustices. Like I would love to work more in Roanoke with some of the great folks working there. Kind of even like with the pool in Roanoke, the Washington pool. It was built on top of a landfill. Like just things like that is expanding. Once we kill this pipeline, like POWHR is not going to go away. So figuring out what that looks like is some of the conversations that we are having now.
So you've shared with us kind of what the future of POWHR is once the Mountain Valley pipeline issue is gone away. You've shared a little bit about your future with, not only POWHR, but other organizations. I'm wondering, how have you changed over the last few years just being involved in these various controversial community projects?
I think I've had to learn how to trust people, like making allies with folks in Blacksburg. Not to sound like a bad person, but you're someone who lives here in Eastern Montgomery County. I think like people around here are like they're not real fond of outsiders outside of our little
no one
community.
cares about us.
Yes,
we've got to take care of ourselves and
the armpit of Montgomery County. Yeah, like we're and this area does do a lot of good work for each other, for the community. But I think it's changed me is that in the ways that I've had to learn how to trust and believe that other people are good also, which I know that sound like, I feel like that kind of sounds bad. Like I don't trust anybody and I think everybody's out to get us. But that's really what it is, I think, is just learning how to build relationships with people. I think I've learned to listen a little bit better and to use my voice a little bit better.
Well, and the organizing skills that you've had to develop to not just be someone who's yelling at everybody, but truly trying to bring people together around a common cause.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring and impressive to see you in action.
Yeah, I would say that's also is learning to find that middle ground with people, because we all have something in common, whether it's the Hokies or fishing or the river. I mean, there are ways that we all are so connected and have so much in common. Most of us just want to be able to provide a safe space for our families, clean air, clean water, good resources. And at the end of the day, I think that is what everybody wants. And just getting on that same page.
What do you hope your kids are learning from you?
Just to care, to not judge, anybody, yeah, I hope they'll just say, Mom tried. And maybe pick up, the 16-year-old, I'm not cool at all, but the 31-year-old, I get messages saying I'm proud of you, I love you, you got this. And that means the world to me. And it lets me know that she is paying attention, even if she's not at the rallies with me, if she's not at these places with me, she is watching. And I believe the 16-year-old is too, whether he'll admit it or not.
He's watching. He's watching.
Yeah.
Well, once again, Crystal Mello here on Buzz for Good with Protect Our Water Heritage and Rights. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing your story and the work that you're doing, helping Appalachia be a healthier, safer, better place. Many thanks again to my good friend Crystal Mello and all of you who are devoting your time and talents to nonprofit organizations that in turn help us build better community for ourselves, our families, and the world in which we live. That'll do it for today's Buzz for Good. Please stay connected with us throughout the week on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all at Buzz for Good, as well as our website, buzzforgood.com. And until next time, please keep being a buzz for good. Bye now.